I thought it was a pretty productive week for us. Got to give hats off to the Baltimore Ravens, first class operation. I got a lot of respect for Harbaugh and his crew, and just the way those guys conducted themselves in practice. And it was a great opportunity for us to play and practice against a premier team in this league. And I thought there was a lot of value into that. And then I was pleased with our performance today. I thought the guys competed, did everything we asked them to do in terms of our play style. And I thought really in every phase of the game, we played fast, we played physical. Certainly the takeaways played a huge difference in this performance. But all in all, I was really pleased with everything that went on this week.
Matt, after what you've seen last month, do you think the week one kicker is on the team right now?
That's not even a question for me, to be honest with you. I think we've got a really good sample size, and then we'll see what happens, just around the league. But certainly, there were some really good moments. Both those guys went in there and hit a 54-yarder and a 55-yarder, and then there's a poor moment there where we missed a chip shot. So, again, a lot of good. There was some that we know we can be better at, and we'll wait and see.
Are you good enough at number 2 quarterback to win a game or two if you need it?
We'll see. Certainly, again, I think it's similar to the kicking competition in terms of there were some really good moments, and then there's some things that we absolutely have to do better, and then we'll evaluate everything that's out there for us.
What did you think of the way Pratt and Sean both played?
I thought they competed hard. I thought they did, for the most part, they did what we asked them to do. There's a couple throws that you always want to have back. Certainly the interception there when Pratt looked like he was a flyer on punt going after the guy that picked off the ball. Was it Simpson, I believe, that picked that off? So that was a good lesson for him. Like, you don't have to go like you're running down on kickoff and make that tackle.
I saw you go over to him on the bench. Is that what you said to him, or did you say
Yeah,
something?
I absolutely did. I mean, you gotta be just a little bit more cautious in that situation.
His hand okay? I remember Rodgers in London thought he was fine after that game, and he ended up having a pretty bad thumb injury.
I didn't know he hurt his hand until you.
It looked like he hit his hand on something.
No, he got the everything crap knocked out of him, and he couldn't breathe. He just lost his wind. He was fine.
When did you tell the guys today that you weren't going to play the starters? Did you have them go through warm-ups and then tell them, or did you tell them ahead of time?
We told them yesterday. We had a practice. Might have had a practice yesterday. A closed practice.
How did you then go about weighing the risk of playing them against? I mean, you talked about the momentum you guys thought you generated by playing them all last year and then playing as well as you can.
Yeah, I think every situation's a little bit different, and you got to be smart and calculated in regards to the decisions that you make with your team. And I thought the work that we got in the other day was really good. I thought we had a really interesting practice the way we did it in terms of splitting up the team. One team or the guys that were playing today were walking through doing cards versus Baltimore, where the guys that we didn't play today we had like a 20-play deal that we did, and just wanted to get a little bit more stuff that we potentially could start running here in the near future.
The team, the players between now and the cuts?
Well, the way that our schedule works, it's a unique deal in regards to the timing of our game, being that it's on a Friday. So they will be off the next 3 days. They'll be off Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then we'll bring them back in Wednesday, and we'll get together.
With backup quarterbacks, most of the time it seems like they play, however many series straight and then switch. You bounced them back and forth. What was the thinking there?
I just wanted those guys to play with basically the same group, if you will. I thought that was only fair to do that, to just see how they performed.
Do you have an idea yet whether you'll get AJ or Marshawn Lloyd back for week one?
TBD.
Where does that leave you at running back? I mean, it looked like Emmanuel had some good moments. Merriweather did too today. Is that just a challenge?
Prairie. I mean, I thought all those runners ran extremely hard. They ran physical. I thought there was much less hesitation in their play, and I thought they finished runs. And that's one of the challenges that we gave to these guys, is finish with low pad level, finish moving forward. Those yards, hidden yardage, if you will, when you get hit on contact and you're falling forward, those every yard counts. So those add up in a hurry.
Was Rochelle injured?
Yes, well, kinda. Didn't feel like he could open it up enough to go out and play.
Matt, you got a bunch of young linebackers that I know you like, but what has Christian Welch shown you throughout this whole preseason, and what has he done to make things maybe difficult for you guys?
Yeah, he's just a smart, tough, physical player. I thought that interception that he had was an outstanding play. It looked like, to me, he baited the quarterback right there as a hook player and just made a great break on the ball and made the play. I mean, and then he had a heck of a return.
You highlighted Aaron Mosby the other day. It's kind of unfair that Anthony picks up that fumble instead of just letting Aaron pick that up and finish the play he caused.
I was glad we scored.
How impressive is what he did today, and do you think?
Yeah, that was extremely impressive to have 2 takeaways, the forced fumble, and I thought that was a pretty physical play, and then come away as a dropper, which we don't do a ton of, and he's sitting there right in the window and make the pick. I thought those were 2 outstanding plays by him.
And I'm sure with big roster decisions, there's not always 100% consensus. How do those conversations with Brian take place, and how do you get to a place where you figure out where those final 53 spots are at?
Yeah, I think we were in constant communication, and I think we come to pretty much a consensus on the majority of the guys. You right there, Rob? All right, a little excited? All right, that's okay. But yeah, we're in constant communication, just always talking about the roster, and there's going to be some very tough decisions, and sometimes I'm like, man, I'm glad I don't have to make that decision.
Speaking of constant communication, I saw he was actually talking to you on the sideline today. Is that the case all the time, or is that a new wrinkle? Like Ted used to always go down there, but I don't know if he actually talked.
I think we have more. He's usually down there more so in the preseason and less in the regular season. So, and especially when I'm not calling the game, it definitely frees you up to kind of have some conversations and in game. And I personally thought it was really beneficial, to be honest with you, especially when you're talking about who you want to see, who you want to get in the game, and so it's a pretty good collaboration there.
Page now. What are some of the
Sorry, what was that, Jason?
That called the offense, or did you have somebody else?
No, we actually had 2 different guys do it today. So Jason Vrabel called the first half, and John Dunn called the second half. And we did the same thing with our defense today. All of them, like a lot of guys called the game today.
As you turn the page now from the preseason and get ready for that trip to Brazil, what are some of the unique challenges to starting the year with such a long trip, and specifically that location?
Well, this is uncharted territory in regards to a lot of things, and for us playing, I mean, we've started the season on a Thursday game before my first year here, but even then the rules were a little bit different in regards to the whole preseason, and so it's just a different schedule, and obviously the travel. I personally have never flown 10 hours in my life anywhere, so no idea how that is. But you just got to deal with it. It's the circumstances that we're dealt with, and we're going to make the best of them.
Hey Matt, what are you kind of facing at right guard? Because you guys obviously like Jordan Morgan a lot, but he never played the position before. Now he's missed a fair amount of time. I know he did Indy, but he hasn't done any 11-on-11 since he came back, has he?
Yeah, and I think Sean Ryan's done an outstanding job. So again, another difficult decision. Luckily, we got some time. We'll have at least 5 more practices before we play Philly, before we have to make that decision.
You rotated players last year at that position. Could that be an option as well at that?
Like where you're going. Who knows? I mean, it could be. It really, everything's up, for discussion right now. But I do think Sean's had an outstanding, training camp, and then I thought he's gotten better and better and better. And one of the things we're looking for in regards to just the stamina to play 4 quarters and put it all together, I think he's gotten better with that.
Dillard's shoulder injury complicated your swing tackle.
Yeah, I think, again, there's some tough decisions looming, and you just got to go off what you have in terms of evaluation in regards to what you have on tape.
So when you're able to sit 38 starters or whatever you did today, you obviously have it was 30. I don't know how many.
More than I counted, but.
I'm just curious, do you feel like you have a pretty good handle on what kind of football team you have? I know you can't know for certain, but from this past month, what kind of football team do you think you might have?
Well, I think we got a bunch of guys that are willing to grind and work and do the things that we want them to do. But ultimately, I think the true test is when you start getting into the season and then you face some adversity, and how do you respond to that adversity? I was super proud of our group a year ago in regards to being able to handle a 4-game losing streak and things not going great, quite frankly. And those guys continue to work and show up every day with a good attitude, and we got better. And I think if there were some valuable lessons learned along the way in regards to how you have to respond when things aren't going your way, and you just got to keep, your head down and keep working.
Matt, how do you evaluate the way that Clifford started this game versus how he ended it?
Yeah, it started off a little rough, and I thought he got better as it went. So, and it wasn't all on him. It takes all 11 all the time. We'd always talk about that in regards to making sure the protections are great. Wideout's got to be in the right spot and the timing of the play, and But I did think we moved the ball, which is ultimately what you want to do.
Was there a communication breakdown on the touchdown that the Ravens had in the first half? It looked like King was in coverage initially.
No, it's just it was a 3rd and 9, I believe. They ran a dagger concept, and we had 2 hook players jump the underneath route, and it left we call that a Dover route, wide open.
Do you think you have a pretty good idea after 3 games and practices how you want to approach both returning the new kickoff and kicking it, or do you feel like you're still kind of, there's a bunch of touchbacks?
Yeah, we'll see. I honestly, I think every game is going to be a little bit different. If you feel like you have an advantage over somebody, you might want them, when you kick off, you might want them to return it, and vice versa. If you feel like you can get some big returns, you might take it out. Who knows? I do feel pretty confident that we got a really good returner. I think we all feel really confident in Keyshawn. But I think every game you could take a different approach, because the last thing, similar to, we were really aggressive to start the year last year, and I think it hurt us, ultimately, when we're returning kicks from 8 deep, and we're, sometimes inside the 25 or 20-yard line. But I think every situation is going to be a little bit different.